Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Omri and today the deck I'm going to be playing is Black-White Auras in Historic. This deck is built around two cards, Core Spirit Dancer and SRAM Senior Edificer, SRAM being the new addition from Kaladesh. Core Spirit Dancer and SRAM Senior Edificer both draw cards whenever you cast auras, which is very strong in a deck full of cheap auras. Speaking of cheap auras, Cartouche of Solidarity, Demonic Vigor, Mokus's Favor, and Sentinel's Eyes are our 1-drops in terms of enchantments. Sentinel's Eyes and Mokus's Favor both have Escape, which is pretty big upside, especially Sentinel's Eyes for only 1 mana. And Cartouche of Solidarity provides First Strike and a 1/1, and Demonic Vigor recurs creatures, which is especially good with Lurrus, as you get to recur Lurrus with Demonic Vigor, and then recur Demonic Vigor with Lurrus. To round out our creatures, 4 Ailsid of Life's Bounty and 4 Selfless Savior protect our creatures that have a bunch of auras attached to them, and Hateful Eidolon draws those cards whenever creatures die. Now, obviously it's not a good thing for creatures with auras on them to die, but Hateful Eidolon gives us a good out, and also Hateful Eidolon has lifelink, which is pretty big upside when you're putting a bunch of auras and making one creature big. It, along with Ailsid of Life's Bounty, are a good reason why aggro matchups are pretty good, because if you make a big lifelinker, they're going to struggle to beat it. Decks like Mono Green, Gruul, Mono Red, if you get it past something like 4 or 5 toughness, the game is pretty much over. As for 2-drop enchantments, All That Glitters is our secondary payoff. It provides a massive amount of power and toughness, especially if you've got a big board, and can lead to some really fast kills, and it's really a big payoff for having a bunch of enchantments in our deck. Angelic Gift gives flying, so we don't have to worry about blockers on the ground, and draws a card. It's a good finisher, but it's not necessary as a 4-of. Now onto the sideboard is one of the big reasons to be playing black, Fatal Push and Thoughtseize. Both of these are incredibly potent sideboard cards, Fatal Push being a new addition from Kaladesh Remastered, and being especially good against deck with creatures, of course, while Thoughtseize is great against any slower decks. Grafdigger's Cage cripples a lot of the decks in the format and is incredibly good, even if it does shut off our own Lurrus. And Apostle of Purifying Light, well, it has protection from black, so it's pretty obvious what it's good against, but it also provides a small amount of graveyard hate for something like Cat Oven or Ura. Now onto the mana base, the big new addition from Kaladesh Remastered is Concealed Courtyard. Now Blue-White Auras did not get a fast land, which makes Black-White Auras advantaged in terms of its mana base, and it's one of the big reasons why Black-White Auras, I believe, is a better deck. Now that you've got Concealed Courtyard, you don't need to be running Temple, you can cut back on basics and Isolated Chapels, and your mana is much, much better. Alright, that's the deck. Let's get into some games.
Game number 1 against Heavy D6 2. And well, this is a very good hand. The classic start of Selfless Savior into 2-drop is especially good in this deck because that means that you get to basically protect it even on turn 1. So if my opponent is in fact on Mono Red, they're going to have 2 spells that remove Core Spirit Dancer. And that is a pretty tall ask considering they didn't have one on turn 1, at least at instant speed. Okay, there's going to be a Conspicuous Snoop, so this looks like Goblins. Fortunately, Goblins is a very, very good matchup. And I'm not even going to bother with SRAM Senior Edificer, I just want to get this game over with. Okay, we'll put the Concealed Courtyard, Demonic Vigor. As soon as I can force them to start chumping, the game's pretty much over, as their deck needs a large mass of creatures to get going. And there is flying, so I'm going to kill them before they get to Muxus, unless they have, actually no, never mind, they're just dead next turn. So I would be very surprised if my opponent managed to get out of here. Just a mountain, Conspicuous Snoop can get Goblin Matron, and that looks to be the game, as I will be able to just fly over and kill my opponent on turn 4. Seems decent. Yeah, and this is really one of the reasons why this deck is so powerful. It can just kill really, really quickly. And see, my opponent had a small window of opportunity to try to kill my Core Spirit Dancer, but by now, I mean, what can they even do? So yeah, that's pretty much how it's supposed to go. That's the textbook match. So 3 Grafdigger's Cage and 4 Fatal Push come in because Grafdigger's Cage stops Muxus, and Fatal Push is just removal. We can take out Um, I think I can pretty safely go down a couple Cartouche of Solidarity, a couple Selfless Savior, and run it like that. My opponent doesn't have very much removal, and Ailsid's lifelink is pretty important, so I think I'll just run it like that. Alrighty, how does this hand look? It looks not bad. It is unfortunate that Isolated Chapel is currently a tapped land, but I think we can make it work. Put this Hateful Eidolon, and then next turn it's probably going to be a Grafdigger's Cage if I don't draw something. Conspicuous Snoop. Grafdigger's Cage also shuts off Conspicuous Snoop, which is pretty relevant. I think what I'm actually going to go and do here is just play all that glitters. This way I'll be able to start getting lifelink damage before they can move it. Next turn I can go for something like SRAM or Core Spirit Dancer if I want to. It's just going to be a Goblin Chieftain. But this way I can just race my opponent with a lifelink, and they're going to have a pretty hard time beating that. Okay, now I'm going to play Core Spirit Dancer, Sentinel's Eyes again on the Hateful Eidolon, 5 power, and that is the match. Going to me very, very quickly, and that was exactly what this deck is trying to do. So that is a great first match. Match number 2 against Ulamog 21. And this is, again, just going to be a solid keep. This now actually gets a little bit interesting because I'll play the Ailsid on turn 1. And the question is, do I want to play Core Spirit Dancer on turn 2 and potentially run into removal? Now, it depends on what my opponent does, especially considering I no longer have a Core Spirit Dancer. And this is probably going to be one of those games where I'm just not going to draw a creature and lose. So I'm just going to call it that unless I draw SRAM or a Core Spirit Dancer very soon, you're going to be seeing game number 2 in just a minute. Okay, get in for 1 damage. And honestly, I think I just have to bring Lurrus to hand here. Play the Bright Clan Pathway on white. I have another one to put on black, and this deck doesn't really cast that many black spells. There's going to be another Zagos Chime for my opponent. Interesting. Well, at this point, I think it's safe to just play Selfless Savior. Play all that glitters. And see if I can beat down that way. My opponent's got a Growth Spiral, potentially into removal spells since they'll have 2 mana if they play an untapped land. But they'll need a second one if they want to kill my Ailsid. Okay. I'm going to give that Indestructible. And I'm just going to play the Demonic Vigor out. If my opponent kills the Ailsid, then I'll just Lurrus plus Demonic Vigor or something. Okay, they play a Nissa. Well, good news is I get to kill the Nissa. I could even get lethal if I draw all that glitters. Okay, wait, is that, are they dead? How dead is my opponent? On a scale of 6 to 11. I must say about an 11, actually. Okay, well that went well, and they were actually exactly dead because I had 4 enchantments plus Ailsid results in enchantment, 6 plus 5, that is 11. Alright, so against Sultai, bring in the 4th Bont Seizes. And again, I think I can take out 2 Cartouche of Solidarity, and what else? I think 1 Angelic Gift, just flying isn't that important. And I think I can go down 1 Mogus's Favor, and we'll run it like that. Actually, the question is, like, Mogus's Favor has Escape. How much do I value that? Actually, I could just bring these Apostles. They kill Uro, don't die to black removal. So that's actually solid. So I'll actually take out these. Is it worth it to cut one of the protection creatures? Guess they don't answer extinction event very well. I'll cut one Ailsid and keep in one Mogus' favor. I think that's fine. And, well, I was right. We did actually get to game 2 pretty quickly, though. Actually ended up being a much better result. Let's see if we can repeat that. And with this hand, it's actually not looking unlikely. Turn 2 Srom, but if it dies, it's fine, because I have turn 3 Srom with either protection, actually, definitely protection. Really what I'm worried about in this case is Extinction Event and Languish as they get around Indestructible and protection and all that. Okay, so my opponent's probably got a Growth Spiral. I'm just gonna play this pathway to avoid taking 2 damage, go to combat, test the waters, and I think I'll just go ahead and slam a SRAM. That actually sounds pretty good, slam a SRAM. And wow, okay, so I guess my opponent actually didn't have Growth Spiral mana, and well, match number 2 goes straight to me as well. Well, get ready for match number 3. Match number 3 already against RSW Reese. No idea what that stands for, but yeah, this hand is interesting. I think I'm going to actually keep it and just sort of hope. On turn 3, I can play. Oh no. Oh no, I should not have kept this hand. Ooh, this is bad. Okay, at least I get Mogus' favorite Bowmat Courier. I think this matchup is actually not terrible, even though my opponent's deck is full of removal, and my deck is full of things that really are bad against getting removed. But if I get one sort of medium-sized Core Spirit Dancer or something, I can get a Demonic Vigor on it, and well, I'm in a pretty good spot. That's going to be a Bone Crusher Giant. But if they just cast the Bone Crusher Giant, then I'm going to be able to Core Spirit Dancer plus Demonic Vigor, which almost guarantees my Core Spirit Dancer surviving if they don't play a land. Ooh, flying. Okay, well this is looking good now. This is looking very, very good, as they're not going to be able to kill my Core Spirit Dancer, and I'm just going to be able to kill them in what looks like 2 turns. Probably just slap Sentinel's Eyes down and then get in with Angelic Gift, and the next turn I'll probably have enough to pump it to lethal. That's when my opponent sees the writings on the wall for them, and that is game number 1 to me. And I'm just going to bring in 4 fatal pushes. What do you think? What are we taking out is the real question. I think that all the cards in my deck are good. This is unfortunate. I'm just gonna. This is interesting. This is very interesting. I guess I can cut the Angelic Gift, since flying doesn't seem too relevant. Robber the Rich technically does have reach. And maybe 1 Cartouche of Solidarity. And run like that. Or I can actually just only run 3 fatal pushes. I think that's fine. Okay, I don't think flying is super relevant because if I get any sort of lifelink going, if I get like protection from out with Ailsid, I don't think this matchup is really about trying to fly over and kill them as quickly as possible. It's more about sticking a big creature and just killing them. Speaking of big creatures, that is 3 Core Spirit Dancers, but that's unfortunately 3 times as many lands as I probably on the draw. But this deck has like 20 lands or something. It's a very risky keep, so I don't think it's worth it. I'm gonna get to Ailsid into Ailsid here. Oh no. Okay, so Soulscar Mage is sort of a massive problem, as it's very, very good against this deck because my opponent gets to basically take a couple of turns to shrink my big creature. But it's not quite as scary as a Grim Lavamancer on turn 1. It's going to be a Mountain and a Spike Field Hazard. That's a card I haven't seen played a lot in Historic. Interesting. Next turn might just be a Lurrus turn, depending on what my opponent does. As That lets me use my mana most efficiently. It's also a Concealed Courtyard turn, and Concealed Courtyard is just so good in this deck. It lets you play one-drops of both colors. It means you don't have to play temples. It means that since there's no blue-white one, black-white is just straight up a better deck. I think I need to go for Core Spirit Dancer into Sentinel's Eyes here, as my opponent has to have 2 burn spells to kill it. I'm definitely not blocking. And if they don't, I'll probably just win the game. What's going to be opponent? Oh, it is 2 removal spells. Okay. That is unfortunate, but I still think that was the correct play, even in hindsight. Ooh, okay, this is interesting. So, oh no, the fact that they paused there, that makes me uncomfortable. So I'm just gonna bring Lurs to hand. And they're probably gonna kill my, ooh, didn't kill my Hateful Idol. That is interesting. Well, I'm not going to block. Though there is an argument to blocking Soulscar Mage, because if they have a spell that's going to kill my Hateful Eidolon, it's going to kill my Hateful Eidolon anyway. But I think just to be safe, I'm not going to block. Okay, I'll test the waters with Sentinel's Eyes. If it resolves, I probably win the game. Okay, now I think it's safe to just go all in. And that is a... Oh, that's a little bit unfortunate. That makes Lurch worse, but it's fine, it's fine. It is definitely worth it, and that is game number 2 to me. So, wow, that's a very quick third match. I'm up to 777 in Mythic. Not quite 666, but we'll get there. And, yeah, well, that was also a quick one, and I guess that means I have time for match number 4, which will be coming right on up after I celebrate about this 20 gems, which is so much better than a rare. Alrighty, match number 4 against Dr. Manhattan. That's going to be a keep because, again, Selfless Savior to Core Spirit Dancer is amazing. And I just realized that I haven't actually cast a SRAM all video yet. So, that is interesting because SRAM is sort of the addition to this deck that really makes it go off. But every single game has just been sort of slam Core Spirit Dancer on tap win the game, which is exactly what this deck is trying to do, but it's just a little bit odd anyway. And here it's just going to be, ooh, interesting. I think I'm going to go for the Selfless Savior. This plays around removal spell. It's a little bit softer to something like Languish, but I think that's a risk I need to take because untapping with Core Spirit Dancer is so important. And the fact that my opponent spent a removal spell just to kill my Selfless Savior possibly implies that they have another one which they were hoping to use. And hopefully they don't have another one, because that would be really bad. As I said, that would be really bad. Drown in the Lock. That is an interesting choice. I don't know why my opponent's on Drown in the Lock. I haven't seen very many Sultai decks on it, especially with so many escape cards, and the fact that they just have better options. But I guess it's working for my opponent. What is going on? Garruk's Harbinger. That is an interesting decision. I am very curious. Now I just have no idea what's going on. I'm just gonna hold up mana for Aelcid. Don't think it's a good idea to just hope that my opponent doesn't have 2 removal spells. I'm going to let them hit me with Garruk's Harbinger here, but hopefully I'll be able to card advantage them out once I untap and cast my Core Spirit Dancer. Frilled Mystic. Really? Frilled Mystic. Okay, I guess you got me, opponent. Damn. Weird. I guess my opponent's on some sort of like Sultai weird stuff. Ooh, nice. Full Eidolon. Get in for 3 lifelinking damage. And I think I'll actually just chump with Aelcid. I think it's worth it to deny my opponent a card. Actually, no, they've got so many cards in hand, they're just missing land drops. I'm actually just gonna let them hit me. I'm not worried about my life total because I've got a bunch of lifelink. And I think that my also is potentially more important. And now I definitely don't regret that decision. They missed. I am so confused by my opponent's deck. They're 96% in Mythic, so it's believable that they're playing something somewhat suboptimal, but really? Another one? Like, okay, but just a little bit strange. That's all. Just a little bit strange. Okay, that's an all that glitters. That's another all that glitters, and that's 8 damage. So my opponent has to have something like multiple removal spells / pieces of interaction because of this Ailsid that can get pro green, and I'll have lethal because of this all that glitters, and my mouth is running out of breath. But yeah, also self-savior. So. Okay, what is it? Opponent? What is it? Let's see it. Oh. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to draw. Just going to Ancestral Recall if they kill it. Maybe it was correct to. Oops, I didn't need to do that. To just hold up Ailsid as well because I'm just not going to lose the game if I untap with Luris. Or Instinct Maintenance soon. Okay, well, I guess I'll just end the video when that happens, I guess. We'll see, we'll see. Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, I'm not sure how good that one is at this point in the game. Though I do have others going, but I think it's going to be too little too late for my opponent. And they seem to agree as well. Even their pet seems to agree. Alright, so I have absolutely no idea what's going on in my opponent's deck. That being said, I think I'm just going to bring in 2 Thought Seizes for 2 Cartouche of Solidarities and run it back, I guess, because I just don't know what's going on. All I know is that they're maybe I want 4 Thought Seizes. If I want 4 Thought Seizes. And I think it's just going to be Cartouche of the Solidarity on the chopping block, as Cartouche of Solidarity is particularly good against decks like Mono Red, because you get First Strike, you get a blocker that you can keep enchanting to, but it just doesn't, like, it feels the role of being a 1-drop enchantment, but it doesn't, like, have escape or anything like that, or it doesn't draw you cards, doesn't, like, recur, stuff like that, like all the other ones. So it's pretty safe bet. I'm gonna keep this one and just really hope to draw an untapped land, because it's gonna be pretty hard to lose if I hit an untapped land, right, Arena? So if you could just you know, Scavenging Ooze. Okay, that's something I need to be worried about later. Well. That is disappointing. I was just hoping for another free win, but I guess we'll actually have to play a game of Magic here. It's going to be an Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath. Okay, so I'm not particularly surprised by a deck running Sultai Mana, or rather just any deck running Simic Mana, period. That's probably representing a Fatal Push or a Thoughtseize. Well, luckily for me, I've got 3 copies of effectively the same effect. And while Strom is legendary, which is a downside, it's not that big of a downside, as if you're untapping with a Stram, you're probably fine anyway. So my opponent's going to take Core Spirit Dancer #1. If they have some sort of very good interaction, that we might even cast a Strom. Or not, I guess. You're gonna cast the Square Spirit Dancer. I can't realistically justify playing a worse card just because it's from a newer set. I would say technically an older set because Kaladesh is Kaladesh Remastered, but actually Core Spirit Dancer is way older. It's from like... I don't even know actually. But it's from like an old set. I'm actually a little bit curious now. It's going to be a down lock. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give Indestructible to Core Spirit Dancer, but it's going to be another removal spell in... No. Oh. Well, I was gonna get to cast Core Spirit Dancer, or rather SRAM, but now I guess I just have to win the game, so. Oh well. Welp, okay then. I'm gonna cast Angelic Gift, hoping to draw land, hoping to draw land, hoping to draw land, hoping to draw a land, hoping to draw a land. These Thoughtseize are dead, I've got no auras. I'm still going to win because that is an interesting choice to sideboard in, but I guess it does destroy enchantments. Maybe I would have gone for the Ale Cid if I was my opponent. I guess they get to start eating. Really need something. Because I can like play Hateful Eidolon and a Selfless Save or something like that, but I really just need to start snowballing. Okay, actually I think I'm just gonna jam a SRAM. And sounds as good as ever. And now I'm a little bit worried about my life total. Though I don't think I can block the Rex Sage because that means I'll just be taking more damage because he's Scavenging Oozes anyway. And I'm hoping my opponent doesn't have a removal spell, but I don't think I can realistically play around one. There's an All That Glitters. There we go, there we go, there we go. I'm gonna draw 2. Again, hoping for a hoping for a land. Land. Oh my god, so disrespectful. I'm gonna just. Okay, and I'm gonna discard Thoughtseize to hand size. It seems the most prudent course of action. I do need to remember that they can exile their own Uro. So if they have a removal spell here, they just win. But considering how incredibly bad my draw has been, there's not really much I can do about that. And they'd have Lethal if they didn't have an Uro in the bin. Okay, so we're gonna scoop this one up and move on to the next one. And now that I'm on the play, and to know that I actually probably only want 2 Thoughtseizes, should be good to go. Don't even think, actually I could just bring in 2 Apostles. It gets Uro, it doesn't die without removal, it's probably pretty good. I'm not sure if I want the full 3 though, as that does leave me with a little bit of an overloaded 2-drop curve. And that's actually the first game we've lost all day, which is mildly annoying. But I'm sure we'll get there game 3, right? Right. Just for a clean 4-0. I'm down for a clean 4-0. Does this hand get me to a clean 4-0 is a question. I think I'm gonna mulligan into a better hand, certainly. And this one gets to go turn 1 Hateful Eidolon, turn 2 Apostle, turn 3 go from there. No SRAM or Core Spirit Dancer, but I've got Hateful Eidolon, which is like sort of a budget one of those, and I've got Apostle, which should be pretty good in this matchup. And I've got Mogus's Favor to start getting the beats going, and that's just triple Concealed Courtyard, which is absolutely perfect mana as they're untapped duels without having to pay any life, and that's honestly just kind of beautiful. I can't equip Mogus's Favor, or rather cast Mogus's Favor on Apostle of Purifying Light, but on the other hand, on a 1 power creature, probably not the best idea anyway. I'm going to go ahead and cast Core Spirit Dancer because I don't have any auras. The closer I get to this Mogus's Favor, the better. And if I bring Lures to hand, it just gets hit by Thoughtseize, which I don't really want. It's going to be a removal spell on Core Spirit Dancer, but honestly, I don't really mind that much. What I would mind is a Scavenging Ooze. Oh, perfect. So I get to do that and cast Lurrus. And I'm beginning to think that I probably should have just brought Lurrus to hand, and next turn I would have cast Core Spirit Dancer and just drawn a card right away. I think I just wanted to go for the more fancy play, just like not do the play they make the same all the time, but I think that was wrong. It's gonna be a Rex Sage. It's gonna kill my Eidolon. I'm going to draw a card, which is a second Apostle of Purifying Light. My opponent's going to Thought Seize me and take my Luris, which is annoying. And then I'm going to play all that glitters. No, I'm gonna attack first. My opponent's gonna block. Yeah. And then I'm gonna play in all that glitters. And I could have Mogus's favored, but I think just getting the potential for lethal next turn is probably pretty good. Okay. And now I'm not in a good spot at all. My Luris is gone. I do have these Mogus's favors. And my opponent... Okay. All we need to do is for my opponent not to have a removal spell, and Strong will actually be good. Oh! Delightful. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, well, doesn't really matter since my Luris is already in the graveyard. Just exile those two. The only thing is I need to actually probably exile all my creatures. I actually have done a decent job, and that's not a good trade at all for my opponent. Seeing as it's an escape card that casts from my graveyard and I draw a card, so they just essentially one for -1 to themselves. And I should... This is hard. I'm not going to block because my opponent misses and doesn't have anything, I'm going to have lethal. And also because if they have a removal spell, I just get absolutely blown out. And I think I can win the game if they don't. It's going to be an Uro, but that's only going to be a problem, a massive problem. And I don't get to cast Mogus's favor. At least they don't get to Uro me next turn. That's the one upside. And again, I'm just, any aura is just an insane draw. And this ram will be great. Whoa. Opponent. Oh no, opponent. Oh, opponent. Oh no, that was not the right play, sir. Sir? Nope, not the right play, sir. Not at all. Wait, hold up. 1. Actually, no, they're probably fine. No, they played that fine. I think they should have exiled their... Yeah, no, actually, you know what? I think they should have exiled my 2 Mogus's favors. Because that would have then meant that I wouldn't be able to cast any auras. And you know what? I'm actually just gonna pass the turn. And if they try to attack with Harbinger, I'm gonna sneeze. Don't want them going off with Harbinger. And I have a backup SRAM, so it's not the end of the world if this one dies. So I'm gonna block like this. And then sack Selfless Savior. And I'm gonna really hope that my opponent didn't draw a removal spell in their 1 card, but they did. They did. Oh, they did. And my opponent has 2 green to exile both my escape enchantments. That's unfortunate. Nope, okay, my opponent's just making the same mistake again. Oh, my poor opponent. Oh, that is not the right play. Not the right play at all, not the right play at all. See, look, now I get to... What do I get to do? I get to Ailsid, sack Ailsid, give pro, like, green or whatever. And then I get to Sentinel's Eyes, and now I get to draw a card. I think my opponent's just undervaluing and killing my escape auras, and, well, my escape auras are doing a lot of work. So, I'm just going to do the same thing over again, and I don't think I can let them draw cards again, and hopefully they didn't draw a removal spell again, because that would piss me off again. Okay, my opponent is not actually in the top deck championships. Actually only in the semifinals and only drew 1 top deck. Good. That sentence made no sense. Oh no, that's an untap land. Oh no, did they draw another land? Oh no. They did. They are in the top deck championships, and they've just gone at it. Swing and a hit. And well, I'm not winning this match if I can't draw something like what? How do I ever get out of this? My opponent's gonna Uro me, and then they're gonna Scavenging with my Sentinel's Eyes. So I need to draw a Core Spirit Dancer, and then draw an Angelic Gift into an Aura plus a Core Spirit Dancer. And then I will be able to just barely stabilize in time, I think. 2 turns. I'll take 5, then I'll take 11, and then I'll be able to jump. Yeah, no, it's not looking good for me. It's not looking good for me at all. But at least we got to see SRAM do something. And you get to see the fail case for this deck, where it just plays against removal, and yeah. Okay, so I could always just like draw a Core Spirit Dancer, and then I'm technically still in business, because then I'd be able to chomp and get it back, even though Scavenging Ooze actually stops that, and I might just be dead because of Scavenging Ooze. I'm not. But yeah, we'll see. No, that's not going to do it, and that is going to be match number 4. But this time it's not going for me, and my opponent even is rubbing the salt in the wound. But still, not bad. 3-1 overall with this very good deck. I think it's one of the best decks in Historic at the moment. It's one of the newer decks from Kaladesh, since previously it was just all blue-white auras, but now with the fast land and the fact that Fatal Push is another amazing sideboard card along with Thoughtseize, means that black-white is actually, I think, a better choice than blue-white, and I'd be very surprised if it didn't end up being at least tier 1, though I have seen some people saying it's tier 2. So that will do it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed, and I already said that. So, closing remarks. If you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate if you liked and or subscribed, as it would really help me out as a newer YouTube channel. Any sort of interaction on the videos gets it promoted to more people. The subscription, I mean, it just makes me feel better, you know? If you want to make me happy, just click the subscribe button. I know that I'm like shilling really hard here and just like, you know, begging, but it really does help a lot. And I will stop now, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.